Welcome to another episode of Purpose Today. I'm your host, Dr. April Dobson, and I'm very excited to have a very special guest on today's episode of Purpose Today, Solomon Chidinma Jachi. And she is an artist and the creative director of Jachi Gallerie in Nigeria. Don't go anywhere. You want to stay tuned for this very special episode, Solving the World's Problems with Purpose, from waste textiles to art. And we're going to get into insightful discussions about how you can take what might seem to be something that's useless and have it transformed into something great, and how you can use your gifts to be a solution for the world. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after these sponsorship messages. This episode of Purpose Today is brought to you by Purpose Today Global LLC in partnership with the Purpose Professionals community. The Purpose Professionals community has moved from the school platform, and the new platform is available. You can use the link that is in the chat to access the new Purpose Professionals community platform. If you are a professional who wants to ensure that you are aligning your profession with your purpose and that you're intentional in connecting with like-minded purpose professionals, join the Purpose Professionals community. Back to Purpose Today. I am so excited to have our very special guest here today. So thank you so much, Solomon Chidinma Jachi. Jachi, welcome to Purpose Today.
Thank you.
Well, I know that I shared just a little bit about you, and I shared what you're doing and how you're creating art, but can you just share whatever you would like to share about yourself with our guests today?
Okay, my name is Solomon Chidinma, and I am a Nigerian visual artist who is very passionate about using discarded fabric materials to create stunning artworks. I was born and brought up in Lagos State, Nigeria. Also had my secondary school and university education in Lagos, Nigeria also, and I am currently a practicing professional visual artist.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for sharing that insight. Now, I know that it's very interesting and it's very, unique what you're doing, but it's also valuable. And I do believe that it's very important for us to identify ways that we can all, find ways to solve problems and to bring solutions that we see around us. And I know that you've made some efforts to do just that. And so, can you just share some insight with our viewers on the efforts that you have used to solve problems in the world, and what it was that inspired you to do so?
Okay, first of all, my environment inspired me to start using discarded fabric materials to create artworks. Growing up, trying to be a professional artist, I used to work with pencil. I used to work with colors, crayons, watercolors, oil colors, and acrylic. Then I needed something that could set me apart from other artists. I needed something that could make me different. That was when I thought about using fabric. But when I wanted to start with fabric, I didn't have enough money to start buying this full clothing material, this full fabric from the market. So I was thinking of a substitute that I could use. Then going out one day, I saw how fabric materials was like littered all over the place. And I was like, wait, this can actually be something that I could, take upon myself to do. Gathering these materials from various tailors around my area, around my locality, and use them to create artworks. So I had to collaborate with local fashion designers around my area, and I told them, look, I want to start creating art with fabric materials. I know I have not done this before. I don't have a sample yet, but if you can trust me, give me your fabric scraps, don't throw them away. I will show you what I'm able to do with it. And I can remember the first ever tailor that believed in me, because there were a lot of them that snubbed me. Some didn't, they didn't want to have anything to do with me. They're like, why do you need it? What do you need it for? So this particular woman, she was like, okay, let's see what you can do. So she kept these materials, and at the end of the month, when it was full, she called me, and I picked the material up, and I started to, create one or two with them. And I can remember the first work that I made and I posted online, it got a lot of reactions. People are like, wow, wait, so you mean that fabric materials, we can use this to actually do something beautiful? So that was what pushed me and, motivated me. And now I am like, my work is like the solution. It's like the solution to the world's, problem we have with textile waste.
That's good. That's really good.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing that. You said several things that I want us to talk about and I want us to unpack a little bit more. So you first had like this desire to like set yourself apart to do something unique.
Yeah.
And you knew that you wanted fabric, but you identified that there was a bit of a challenge. It wasn't an issue that couldn't be solved, but it was a challenge. And so you said, as you were out one day and you were just looking around you, you saw that people had just been throwing away, these fabrics and they were littering.
Yeah.
So one thing that I want to point out is the very solution. Part of the solution was just in front of you. You just had to open your eyes to it. Can you share with the audience how much time had passed between the desire that you had to start using fabric to the day that you just had this realization, oh, there's these textiles? How long was it between the time that you had the idea and roughly the time that you had this epiphany that you were just going to use some things that you saw that were being littered?
Yeah, it took quite a lot of time, It took quite a lot of time because I was skeptical. I didn't think that people would accept what I was going to do or what I had in mind. There were the times when I just had this rough idea in my head and I was panicking. I was like, will people even think, will they accept? One thing is to do something, and one thing is for people to accept it. And when people don't accept it, you can feel discouraged, you can feel down, you don't want to do it anymore. So I think it took quite a lot of time, but the moment, I don't know, it just felt like there was this push that, okay, enough of panicking, enough of procrastinating. You just need to get up and do this thing. And I'm glad I actually did, because it's been great ever since then. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, I heard about, well, not heard about, but I read this example one time of a lady who had a son. And some people might know about her, Ishmael's mom. And she was out of water and she was crying because she was out of water inside of her flask, inside of her water bottle. And when she opened her eyes and she looked, there was a well in front of her. And so with your example that you just used, you had this thing that you wanted. You had a point of discouragement, but you came back from that discouragement and you looked around and you saw, here's a solution. People are leaving it. But then you took it a step further. So I want to go back to what you said. You took it a step further. You started talking to, different designers, seamstress, different people who were using material that they weren't using anyway. And you asked them if they would be willing to give you what they were going to throw away. And so for people who are watching, there may be some things that other people would consider as something that can't be used. But when it's placed in the right hands, as we can even see from your example, it can be made into something beautiful. So this is so inspiring. It's touching my heart. And, I don't know if anyone has like even seen, there may be some viewers who are watching who maybe they haven't seen your artwork, but I actually saw your artwork on Instagram. I was on Instagram and I was just really amazed, at, what you had posted with what you were doing. And there's a video that you have of you taking, different materials. I want to see if there is a way that I can play that so that the audience can see it. So I want to see if I can share my screen because I think this is really amazing. I probably should have put your Instagram handles and all of that on the screen so that people could start looking at it. But I'm just going to share, so people can see just, some of the things that
My space. I love my work and I love my routine. I love my space. I love my work and I love my routine. I
love this. This is
my space.
Wonderful. And I think that everyone around the world should see your work. They should see what you're doing. And I know that it's going to be so impactful to people around the world. And I think it's going to inspire people around the world as well, not just to value your art and value your creativity and value the gifts that are inside of you, but to also even value the gifts that they have in themselves. And that when they have ideas, then they can actually just begin to move forward, even if what they are thinking about might not be clear on how they can do it, but just to continue to move forward. And so I'm going to, for anyone who wants to see your Instagram, I'll be putting that on the screen so that they can have an opportunity to, look at some of your videos, look at some of your art. So that'll be available for anybody who wants to go and take a look at your Instagram. So I want to continue on. I know we have, a lot to uncover, but you talked about everything that you've been doing. So can you just share with our viewers how long you've been creating art and, whether or not you've always focused on recycling textiles? I know you talked a little bit about it in your introduction and in your background, but if you can just share, how long you've been creating art in general, and then just how long you've been doing the recycling.
Okay, I started creating art when I was very little, up until 2016, when I decided to make it a thing, start practicing more professionally. Then it took me, I think, 2 years to find my niche, which is the fabric collage. So I started working with fabric in 2018. Yeah, so that's approximately 8 years now I've been an artist, but I started working with fabric from 2018. Yeah.
That's really good. So I know that you're really revolutionizing the way that art is done, and you're also making an impact. So you're being able to take things that were previously littered and were waste, and you're making a change there. Has there been anyone who has been influential to you in terms of, creativity or your art style?
Yes, I have someone who is actually my mentor. He's also a fabric collage artist, and he has been the person that really inspires me. His works inspires me a lot. His works is also centered around sustainability, around innovation. His name is Uzoma Samuel. He's a Nigerian fabric collage artist, but he's like a master. He's a professional in it. He travels around the world. He has hosted exhibitions in China, in Austria, so many places. He's really doing great. And when I look at his work, I look at myself, because his work inspires me a lot, to take move, to go, chase my purpose, work towards whatever I have in mind. He encourages me to take on every opportunity as much as I can as an artist, because that's one of the things that exposes us, hopping on every opportunity. So, yeah.
That's good. That's very inspiring. And, for people who are watching this, there may be someone watching who desires to get started in some way with art. What would you tell them to do to get started?
Well, if you need to ask yourself that question, what makes me feel fulfilled? That's one of the questions that you need to ask yourself. And you don't need to listen to what other people are saying. Sometimes we sit down, want to know what are people saying. If we want to take a step, we're asking ourselves, what will people say? That question is something that has really put people in a box. It keeps people boxed. What will people say? So if you can overlook what people are going to say and come out and start taking those small steps towards your goals. You need to set a goal. What do you want to achieve? What do you want to do in the next few months, in the next 1 year? Who do I want to be known for? When people come across me on the media, or when people come across me physically, what perception do I want them to have? How do I want them to see me? So once you can put all those things like on your journal or anything, you now start taking small steps towards achieving those goals. Because they say Rome was not built in a day. You don't just become that great person all of a sudden. It starts small, from the little activities, from the little posting, from the little sharing of your work, from the little telling of your story, because you need to continuously tell people your story until they hear it. Never get tired of sharing your story. You need to keep screaming it. You need to keep shouting it. You need to keep telling people, this is who I am. This is what I love to do, until they hear you and they accept you. So they should just keep taking that small, small steps towards their goal. And before they know what's going on, they're already big. They're already there. Yeah.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for that. Now, I know that there may be people who are watching and, they may be wondering, well, what is it that I can do? How can I, help to solve a problem? And so, what strategies, would you give to people who are viewing on, maybe approaches or things that they can do to bring solutions either in their community, in the world, in their state, in their country? What are some things that they could do if they're wanting to make an impact?
Okay, first of all, you have to look around you, and find the little things. Like I told you, I looked around my, environment, and I saw how fabric scraps were littering the whole place, filling up our waterways, filling up the landfills. So you can look around you. What is going wrong? What do you think is happening that is not supposed to happen? And you don't have to even be an artist, to create a solution to environmental problem. You can, on your own, be an educationist. You can teach people around you, oh, don't do this, oh, don't do that, this is the way you can take care of this is where you can take care of that. We can inform, we can, create value. Pet bottles, we can tell people, when you drink water, don't just throw it, on the floor. You can keep them. You can even turn your pet bottles into flower vases. You can create with the things that you feel like this thing is no longer a waste. You can create with them. There are people that whenever I go to their place, and the funniest thing is that we are already doing that without us even knowing. We're already preaching the sustainability gospel without us even knowing. Because sometimes whenever we have broken buckets in our homes, we cut it and we turn it into a flower vase.
Yes.
Automatically, you have already recycled. Automatically, you have already contributed to reducing waste around you. Even your old wrappers, they can be reused to make a lot of things. They can be reused to make bags. So you can just look around you. What is it that is going wrong? What is it that I can do? You can educate people. You can use even the things that you have in your house that you feel like it's no longer useful. You can creatively reuse them into something that at the end of the day, you thank yourself for not throwing them away.
That's good. Thank you so much for that. You said something earlier about people really looking at what is it that causes them to be fulfilled. What is it that they see around them that they can solve? And I know that every person might have a different type of problem, that they're solved. It's the things that when a person looks at it, it bothers them, right? And the things that help them to be fulfilled. You said that. And I think often when we think about our purpose lies in the problems that we see that bother us. It lies in what gives us fulfillment. It lies in the deep desires that we have on the inside of us. So for you, what role do you believe purpose has in our lives, and just how important do you think it is for people to discover and pursue purpose?
Well, purpose is something that makes us feel alive. It's that thing inside of us that that drives us. It just makes you restless. You want to bring this particular thing to life. It's like a quiet voice inside our head that just wants you to bring a particular vision, that wants you to bring a particular, vision to life. Can you repeat the question? I missed can you
And
repeat
then the second part of it, because you really
Yeah.
already answered most of it, is just also, you answered most of it, but it was also discovering purpose and then pursuing purpose, how important it is in our lives.
Yeah. Okay. When you have something that you really want to achieve, you become so restless. You become so restless. You want to take every action. You want to take every step. So you just have to do everything, within you, take that step, like I said before, take those small steps, those little activities that you can do that can increase the, because one thing is that when you have something you want to achieve and you don't make move towards it, it dies. So in order for it not to die, you have to keep working towards it, and planting those seeds and taking small steps.
That's good. That's really good. When you said that if you don't take action, that it dies. And I think often the desire, the desire might still be there, but we may not be as excited about it because we've pushed it down, we've pushed it down, we've pushed it down. And now I think we have people who could be waiting, on a solution because we pushed down a desire that we had and something that was in our heart. So thank you for that encouragement for people to go after what they're dreaming about and pursue it and cultivate it so that it grows. I want to get into talking about Jachi Gallerie. I'm very excited that we can take some time to focus our discussion on that at this point. So I know that you're the creative arts director of Jachi Gallerie. And so can you share more with our viewers about Jachi Gallerie? And also, if you can share how Jachi Gallerie is making an impact.
Okay. Jachi Gallerie is all about informing people that sustainability is beautiful, telling people that beauty can come out of broken things, telling people that those things that you think have no value, have no worth, can become beautiful again. And aside the sustainability aspect, Jachi Gallery is all about transformation. It's all about preserving memories, because each of these fabric materials, aside collecting fabric materials from local tailors around me, I also buy thrifted fabric clothes from local vendors. They have old clothes that they don't want anymore and they want to throw it away. So I go to them and I buy it at low cost. Now, these clothes are being donated by various people. They are owned by various people all over Nigeria, across Nigeria. So the Jachi Gallery is all about preserving memories, because this fabric belongs to so many people that I don't even know. There are memories of people who have lived, memories of people who are still living. When I pick up a dress to work with, in the studio, the first thing I ask myself is, who was this person, the owner of these clothes? What was this person like? How did this person live? Is she alive? Is she dead? Was she pregnant? Was she a teacher? Was she a lawyer? Was she a doctor? That clothes just represents them. So instead of throwing it away, we are bringing these fabric materials together to preserve the memories of these people. Now, these people don't even know me. They don't even know where their clothes are right now. They can't even remember that they once had that clothes. So as a person and as a creative, taking it upon myself, to bring those fabric materials together in order to preserve memory, and to also inform people, about the throwaway culture in Nigeria, because we have this throwaway culture whereby we dispose everything, almost everything. We like to get new things, and fast fashion too is what is affecting us. Fast fashion, they are producing new clothes, while the old ones, they are dumping it in the landfills, which is causing, harmful, which is causing harmful things in our society, affecting our health in one way or the other. So the Jachi Gallery is all about innovation. It's all about preserving of memories. It's all about transformation. It's all about showing people that beauty can come out of trash. When people see my work, the first thing they say is, wow, so discarded fabric materials can be used to create this. So that's the idea that I want everybody to have when they see my work. That's the first question I want them to ask themselves. So something nice can actually come out of these things that we thought were no longer useful, these things that we thought were trash. So yeah.
That's awesome. That's awesome. I love that. Now, I want to just talk a little bit about some of the work that you've done. So, can you share with our viewers just some insight on, maybe one or two of the most significant pieces of art that you've created to date?
Okay, one of the works that I've created that really means a lot to me was the one where I used my clothes, my own clothes from my childhood down till now. I used it to create a piece of work because each of the clothes reminded me of the activities, the things that I have been through, the moments of happiness, the moment of sadness, the moments when I was heartbroken. You just represent various stages of my life. So when I look at these artworks, each of the clothes I see on it just reminds me of the past. And I feel like that's what art is all about. It should be able to remind us of our story, able to remind us of ourselves. And another artwork that I have created that is really significant to me was the one that talked about African women, a series that talked about African women and the things they have, they go through. African women are really beautiful people. We go through so much pain. We carry so much responsibilities, so much pressure. But even in the midst of all of those things, we still find a way to stand tall. We still find a way to shine. We still find a way to spread light. And this inspires my work so much. So it's one of the pieces that that is really significant to me. Creating a piece of art that tells people that the voices of African women matters a lot and that their stories are very beautiful.
That's good. Thank you so much for sharing that. And then if we
Okay.
have some viewers who are watching and they're interested in learning more or purchasing some of the art that you're creating, what would they need to do? How would they get started?
Okay, all they need to do is to go through my Instagram page at Jachi_Gallerie. There are a lot of works, a few works that I have done there on my page. They can forward it to me via DM or via email, and I can share more details and information about the particular work. I also create custom pieces, where you get to tell me whatever you have in mind that you would want to bring to life. Yeah, when you share, we can actually work in that too. So for now, I don't have like an official website, but I make use of my Instagram DM.
Perfect. Thank you so much. And so they would just reach out to you on Instagram, send you a direct message, and then they could either talk with you about purchasing something that you've already created or having a custom work made for them. So
Yeah.
did I sum that up correctly?
Yes, very well.
Thank you.
Very
And I just pulled up your Instagram because I just wanted to share so viewers can, take a look at some of the things that you've created. Just beautiful, beautiful, beautiful artwork. And I do encourage you all to connect on Instagram. The profile information is there on the screen. And I'm just sharing some of the many beautiful artwork. And I think maybe I can allow viewers to see it a little bit better if I show it this way, but just some beautiful, beautiful, beautiful.
We are sip the Henny for the devil. Bad man, we must step it. Oops, I don't fall for you, baby. I know, girl, but you know for the first time.
Thank you.
We are sip the Henny.
So I want to also ensure that for viewers who are watching, many of them may have a desire, like I said, to make an impact around the world. Some of them may have a desire to create art, whatever it is. And so if there's any final insight or advice that you would leave for our viewers, whatever it is, if it's something that we haven't talked about, just whatever you want to leave with our viewers as we conclude.
Okay. What I would say is that I would encourage you to start with what you have. Don't wait for when you have all of the big things. Even if it's art, even if it's not art, maybe there are other things that you feel like you want to do. You're scared of starting. You just need to start. You don't need to wait till when you have all the luxurious materials in the world, or when you have so much. Just start with the little you have. When I wanted to start doing fabric collage, I did not know that I was going to be using discarded fabric materials. All I had in mind was that I would go to the market and I would buy the full wrapper, the cloth, and I would just, cut it and start working with it. But because I didn't have money at that time, and I feel like that everything that happened that time happened for it's, for a reason. I had to start using discarded fabric materials. I started with what I could find around my environment. I started with what I was already seeing. So likewise, you just have to start with what you have. Don't wait till when you have all of the materials complete before you start working. I will also encourage you to hop on every opportunity that comes your way around your craft, around the things that you have desires for. Take every opportunity. Don't look back. Don't think about what people will say, because people will definitely say something. Even if you start working, people will complain, people will criticize. If you don't start working, people will complain, people will criticize. So you just have to choose. You have to choose to start from what you have, start with what you have, start from where you have. In every situation, just start, and before you know it, you're already where you want to be.
Wow, that was wonderful. I think that's some excellent advice, just encouraging people to start where they are. And I love that. And, you also said a key thing, don't worry about what people are saying. People are going to always have something to say, but focusing on what it is that you have in your heart. So thank you so much. I really appreciate you coming as a guest on Purpose today. This has been a wonderful discussion. And I look forward to continuing to see all of the beautiful art that you create. If people want to contact you, you mentioned earlier your LinkedIn. Is there any other way that they should contact you, or is it just primarily your LinkedIn?
Instagram, then my email.
I'm sorry.
You can contact me through my email. I'm also on TikTok. I'm also on TikTok, on Facebook, Jachi Gallerie. Jachi Gallerie is the name, yeah. But on TikTok, but on Facebook, Jachi Gallerie. You can also contact me through my email, jachi@7@gmail.com.
So I will try to get that on the screen for the viewers. And that way, if they want to reach you via email, then they can do so as well. So I've got the Instagram and the email so that they can reach you by either of those methods. So thank you again. It's certainly been a pleasure. I know you're going to go backstage for just a moment here, and we are going to chat more momentarily. But thank you again. You've been such an amazing guest. For all of our viewers, thank you so much for tuning in and watching. If we didn't get to the questions that you have in the chat, and you have a question specifically that you want to ask, you can reach out on Instagram or send an email. So thank you again for watching this episode of Purpose Today. I'm your host, Dr. April Dobson, and stay tuned for another episode of Purposed Today. And remember, be purposed today and every day.